Jackson Podcast.
Thank y'all for tuning in to my show. I'm warming back up on the microphone, man. I took last weekend off so I could be able to contribute to a magazine with somebody that is dear to me. I want to make sure that their magazine is immaculate. I did the photo shoots, doing the editing to it, so I've been working hard. Now, this conversation, I have seen Kamala Harris. She's making a run. She has been on The View. She's been on a multitude of platforms. She's right here with Michael Strahan, and we're going to react to some of the things that she said during this conversation that she had with Michael Strahan. But I'm interested in purchasing the book. If you know my political stance, I'm an independent. I really don't care for no politicians because they all lie. Real talk. I just vote based upon what's in the best interest of my loved ones and me and my family and the people that concern me, the like minded individuals that have the same intentions and interests as me. But this last election was tricky because I knew both of them was lying. And I kind of can assume what's about to be said when she talks about President Trump and everything on her because a lot of the promises that made people change from the Democratic Party to the Republican side, the conservative side, to Trump side, I don't think that it has been done yet. The economy is still exactly the same. I don't think it's worse, but I think it's the same. And if he don't bring some change about, it will get worse. I don't think that the migrants is just got pushed out of the country like he said they was. President Barack Obama is the person who has deported more migrants than any president in American history, or immigrants, or whatever you want to define them as. When I think about his presidency, everything that he said that he was going to do hasn't been done yet. I know it's coming up on a year, but I want to see some of the things that was being said get put into place. And do I think Kamala Harris would have made a difference? I don't know. Because looking at the way that the country was ran when she was vice president, it was horrific, to be honest with you, my perspective of it. Let's get into this conversation, though. Let's go.
President Kamala Harris, who has a new book out called 107 Days. That's a nearly day-by-day account of her run for president and a 2024 campaign. Vice President Harris, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Michael. It's good to be with you.
Great to be with you. And we're just gonna dive right into it because everyone seems to have their own theory. But why do you feel or believe that you lost the 2024 presidential election?
Well, I talk about a lot of the factors that I think contributed to the outcome. But the reason I wrote the book is, Michael, it really was an unprecedented election. You think about it. A sitting vice president running for re-election, 3.5 months before the election decides not to run. The sitting vice president then takes up the mantle, running against a former president of the United States who had been running for 10 years with 107 days to go. It's unprecedented. It was the closest presidential election in the 21st century. And
I'm going to acknowledge her in a way to start it off in a positive way. And then I got to address what was said before I paused it. 107 days. Biden not being able to function at all during that first debate he had with Trump. He looked like he was 275 years old. The Democratic Party not addressing his health deteriorating. Her only having 107 days to be able to go against somebody like Trump. It was unprecedented. And I knew she was going to lose. 107 days, that wasn't enough time. What it showed to me was the dysfunction in the Democratic Party. And she's from California. Look at the dysfunction in the state of California. Look at the governor and what he's going through right now, Mayor Bass and all of that. It's just very dysfunctional in California. I wouldn't want anybody that's in leadership in California to lead the nation. Now, what she said, it was the closest presidential election in the 21st century was cap. That was cap, Kamala. That was cap. He won all the swing states. You got blown out. I ain't a Trumper or a MAGA supporter, but I'm a truth teller, and you got blown out. That was cap, Kamala. Let's go.
And as history writes about that election, I felt very strongly that I wanted to make sure my voice was present in how that election is discussed and covered. It's part of American history, and I wanted to make sure my voice would be a part of that.
So did you believe 107 days was enough? Did you wish of course you wish you had more time, but do you think
No.
it was enough? And if not, do you think that any other Democrat could have pulled it off in 107 days?
It was not enough. I can't predict the outcome. We have lots of stars in our party. I'm sure that there are many people who would have done a great job. I can't predict what the outcome would have been.
Well, how do you, there were some Democrats who said that you don't take enough responsibility for the loss. How do you respond to that?
As I say many times in different ways in the book, the buck stopped with me, and I'm clear about that. I'm clear about that. And there were so many factors. You know, one of the aspects of those 107 days that I think is important to remember as we go forward is that we have an individual in the White House, the President Trump, who in running for re-election made a lot of promises to the American people that he did not keep. I talk extensively about the fact he said that his main reason for running, and on day one, he was going to bring down prices. And I do believe a lot of people voted for him with that priority in mind. And look at where we are today. Inflation is up, the cost of food is up, unemployment is up. He did not keep that promise to the American people. And we also need to remember those 107 days around some other stuff that he said. Mass deportations, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies, that he would silence critics. And he has done that consistently. Mass deportations, you know, somebody told me recently a story about a fellow they were talking with who was a big supporter of President Trump when he was running. He's a Floridian, he's Cuban descent. And he shared the story of how his life partner, his wife, is now in deportation proceedings to be sent to Sudan. And when asked, what happened? Why did you have so much support for him? He said, well, I believed what he said, that he was going to only go after criminals. So part of the reason that I have written this book is for us to remember that there is somebody in the White House right now that made a whole lot of promises that were either about what would aggrandize and help him met out his vengeance, or about lies he told to the American people that he obviously never intended to keep.
And let's talk about somebody who was in the White House with you.
I'm gonna let her get to that part though. You know, of talking about Biden, but I want to address what she said about Trump because that's true. Trump has been in the office for 11 months, going on a year, and he has 3 more years. And do I think that he is going to do the things that he said? No. But do I think the things that he said is what got him in the White House? Yes. If you knew that was a winning strategy on the Democratic Party, why didn't you say that also and lie? Why not? You got to do whatever it takes to get into the office. It's the American way. Because you're lying regardless. They all lying. Use that same strategy that he used, lie about it, get into the office and do whatever the hell it is that you want to do. Ain't no morals and integrity in the United States of America. This whole place is a movie. It's all cap. I hate to tell y'all that. She could have used that same strategy and said what she's going to do and what she isn't going to do. But you know what she was doing? She was protecting Biden by saying, I wouldn't do too much differently because what we've done is right. I remember all of that. She wasn't talking about deporting people. We'll try to find a way to do this and do that. No, people was tired. People still tired. But you know what's interesting about President Trump's presidency? The Democrats going to win next time. I hate to tell y'all that. I hate to tell y'all that. Especially the people that is conservative or Republicans. The Democrats going to win next time because people going to be tired of Trump. he is fatiguing already. It's been 11 months and people tired of this shit. It felt like it's been 10 years he been a president. Let me let her speak and be quiet for a moment.
Yeah.
President Biden said he believed that he insists that he would have won the race. So when you hear him say that, how does that make you feel?
I think that the reality of it is that, for me, I'm not going to predict what didn't happen. The reality is, and listen, I talk about how difficult January 6th was for me, of 2024, not to mention 2020.
Yeah.
When I fulfilled my constitutional duty and responsibility as Vice President of the United States and President of the United States Senate to stand there as the former Democratic nominee for president and certify the election. Because I believe very strongly that in spite of all the other nonsense that might be coming out of my former opponent, I was not about to degrade the role of Vice President of the United States around acknowledging a free and fair election and the peaceful transfer of power, which is part of the hallmark of who we have presented ourselves to be as the United States of America.
Well, you said in the book that that's the hardest thing that you...
You know, I'm going to play another interview that she was recently on The View and see what was said on this platform. Let me pause it, but I want to give my take about this situation in general. I feel like, you know, the Democratic Party set her up for failure, and Biden saying that he could have won the presidency it wasn't right, because he couldn't have. You know, the way the country was ran, it has been like interesting to see the interest rates, the finances just dissipate. To see so many people coming into the country and getting opportunities that people that's foundationally from the country not get. It was interesting to see wars being funded while people are starving and homeless. People was tired of that. Now, I see what Trump is doing by going to these cities with the National Guard, talking about cleaning it up, but I don't hear him talking about helping the people. I seen as of recently him give money to the HBCUs, taking money from other schools and things. Trump has been doing some good things. He's been doing some bad things. But when is America going to vote on leadership that's going to look out for the best interests of the people and not the oligarchs and the people with the finances and the NRA and the people with the gun rights and all of that? When are they going to ever look out for the people? I'm going to stay independent. I ain't going to vote until the president is talking about something for the people. They don't care about nobody, no side. You can pick a side all you want to, but they don't care about people at the end of the day. And I feel like she was going to lose regardless. Biden was going to lose regardless. People was tired of the Democratic ways. Let's go. Let's get into this. Let's see what Whoopi talking about.
Former Vice President Kamala Harris is taking you inside her last-minute presidential campaign in the new memoir, 107 Days. And we're honored that she's back for the first time since the election. Please welcome Kamala Harris.
Wherever you go now?
Well, you know, a lot of people are coming up to me crying, actually.
Crying, yeah. I would be crying.
Yeah, but that was just me.
That's true. That's true.
Well, it's
Hi, guys.
hey,
Hi.
you know,
Hi.
this is just wild to have you here today.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful to see you.
It's good to be with you guys. Thank
Good,
you.
because
Thank
it's
you.
been almost a year since the election.
Yes.
We're going to get into everything that's been going on since. You look good.
Thank you. That's very kind. I'm getting some sleep these days.
How are you?
I am well. Thank you for asking. I am well. I feel very blessed. My family is well. And, you know, in spite of everything that's happening in the world, I don't have any complaints.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
You know?
Well, let me take you back a little bit. There seemed to be so much momentum after President Biden stepped aside. There was a renewed sense of hope for Democrats, honestly, for everyone. It felt like there was this great option. Money was pouring in to the tune of $1 billion. There were huge crowds at your events. And then election night came.
Yeah.
And it was 2016 all over again. And there's even a picture in the book that shows you and your husband when it appeared things weren't going quite the way maybe many of us had thought. What was going through your mind as the results came in?
So that chapter in the book was probably one of the most difficult things that I had to reflect on and write about. In fact, Doug and I, my husband, it wasn't until I was writing that chapter that we had ever talked about election night.
Oh,
We had never talked about election
it
night.
felt traumatic.
It was that traumatic. We had never talked about election night. So I'm writing it and I'm thinking about it. And, you know, and there were a number of people who I could kind of like, what was your, you know, like the different perspectives of a moment. And that's when Doug told me that he had been out campaigning with my brother-in-law in Pennsylvania, and we met back up in D.C. And I remember him being a little out of sorts, but there was so much happening. But on his way back from a rally where there was an incredible amount of enthusiasm, people on the ground were like, we got it, we're going to do this. And then they talked with a mutual friend of ours who was over at Fox News in the war room, who had been hearing about data that suggested things were not looking great in Pennsylvania. And the way I write about it, I mean, my poor husband, so he didn't want to put that on me. He went upstairs and he basically went in the shower and prayed that it was not going to be a bad night. And it was, you know, my family was there, everybody was there. I've always on election night done family and friends and dinner. But that night, I grieved in a way that I have not since my mother died. And the pain was, it was not at all about losing a race. I knew what it was going to mean for the country. I was going to say for the family.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt, for the country.
We all agreed.
I knew what it was going to mean.
Yeah.
But I knew.
Yeah.
And all I could say over and over again is, my God, my God, my God. It was very difficult. I mean, I know many people experienced it in different ways. But yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, I was at that Philadelphia rally the night before, and I was sitting behind your husband, Doug, and Maya and your family. And I remember hugging them and them telling me, we got this. I felt so good going into Election Day. And then I read in the book that you did too. I went into Election Day thinking you were going to win.
Yeah.
So did you.
Yeah, I did.
So, I mean, it was a very tight race, but ultimately, if you have to pin it down to one thing, what was the primary reason, do you think, that you lost?
There are many factors, I think, that played into the outcome of that election. But I think probably one of the biggest in my mind is we just didn't have enough time.
You didn't have
We didn't
enough
have
what?
enough time. We didn't have enough time.
Oh, yeah. Well, you didn't.
And, you know, I mean, one of the reasons I wrote the book is this is unprecedented. Think about this.
Yeah.
That there's a race for president of the United States. The current sitting president is running for re-election. 3.5 months from the election, he decides not to run. The sitting vice president then takes the mantle, running against a former president of the United States who had been running for 10 years with 107 days until the election. And by the way, another piece of what is unprecedented and a bit historical about that race, it is the closest presidential race in the 21st century.
I'm gonna stop it right there because she said that twice in 2 interviews, and that's a blatant lie. It's not the closest race in the 21st century. But what I want to say, the reason I feel like she lost the race based upon being around a lot of individuals who voted and a lot of people who was paying close attention to this. Because if you look at my podcast like a year and 2 or 3 months ago, you scroll down, I talk a lot about, Trump, Kamala. I got a lot of backlash for saying certain things. And I was covering those black men meetings and stuff like that with D.L. Hughley. And she was trying to position herself to get the black vote, and it came off disingenuous. Saying the things that she was going to do for the black man while being married to a white guy. Trying to identify with black when she is clearly not black. She's something else. I think that played a part in men going the other way. A big part in it. And Trump promised certain things that they should have promised instead of her saying that what Biden was doing was right because the country and the people was frustrated. Now, to be honest with you, looking at these interviews, she sold me on the book. I'm not going to purchase the physical copy. I'm going to purchase the audio copy. I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to get back with y'all and react to it. What's y'all thoughts about the things that y'all heard her say? And are y'all going to purchase the book yourselves? I appreciate y'all tuning in to my platform. Let's further the discussion in the comment section below. Peace, love, plenty, abundance. Make sure you go get you some money, and I'm gone. Chill.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.